Today's game features Vassily Ivanchuk playing as white against Artur Yusupov as black. Move 0. White pushes the pawn to c4. Black pawn to e5. White advances to g3. Black pawn to d6, activating the pieces. White places the bishop on g2, a principled move, fighting for the center. Black pawn to g6, following opening theory. White pawn to d4. Black develops the knight to d7. White develops the knight to c3. Black places the bishop on g7. We're at move 5. White knight to f3. Black develops the knight to f6. White castles kingside. Black castles kingside. White deploys the queen to c2. Black moves the rook to e8, gaining space. White moves the rook to d1. Black pawn to c6. White advances to b3. Black brings out the queen to e7. Move 10. White places the bishop on a3. Black plays e4. Very committal. In Caesar's words, the die is cast. White brings the knight to g5. Black pawn to e3. White plays f4. Objectively, this is weaker than f3, which keeps more central control. Black develops the knight to f8. White advances to b4. Black bishop to f5. Building pressure. White deploys the queen to b3. Black advances to h6, a subtle improvement. On move 15, white develops the knight to f3. The idea behind this move is clear. Black develops the knight to g4, improving the position. White advances to b5. This improves the position significantly. Black plays g5. Both players are breaking through on their respective wings. White on the queenside, and black on the kingside. White pawn takes on c6. Addressing the imbalance. Black captures on c6 with the pawn. White develops the knight to e5. Black pawn captures f4. White captures on c6. Black brings out the queen to g5. On move 20, white bishop takes d6. Activating the king. Black knight to g6. White develops the knight to d5, improving piece activity. Black deploys the queen to h5, simplifying the position. White pushes the pawn to h4, converting the advantage. Black captures on h4. White pawn captures h4. Precise calculation required here. Black takes on h4 with the queen, converting the advantage methodically. White plays nday7+. Wrong knight. Black king moves to h8. Move 25. White takes on f5 with the knight. Black queen to h2. Check. White king moves to f1. Black plays re6. Onward to g6. White deploys the queen to b7. Black plays rg6. White can have the rook with check. The threat of qh1+ wins. White takes on a8 with the queen, check. Black king moves to h7. White plays qg8+. Only this move allows white to eliminate the deadly rook on g6 and stop the threat of qh1+. Black king takes g8. On move 30, white develops the knight to e7, check. Now, black king to h7. White takes on g6 with the knight. This simplification helps. Black captures on g6 with the pawn. White knight captures on g7. Black plays nf2. Another brilliant checkmating mechanism. Now the idea is simply nh3 and mate on f2 or g1. Now, white bishop takes f4. Black takes on f4 with the queen. White develops the knight to e6. Black queen to h2. The plan becomes evident. We're at move 35. White moves the rook to b1. Black brings the knight to h3. White moves the rook to b7, checking the king. Black steps the king to h8. White rook swings to b8, and that's check. Black captures on b8. White bishop takes h3. Black plays qg3. Its mate next move. Vassily Ivanchuk resigns. Artur Yusupov wins the game.